INEC chairman is asking for a new law to address infractions of its rules, beginning campaign earlier than it should. First, that beginning campaign earlier than it should, how do you describe it? Political rascality, absence of rule of law, or what?
Well, I would say that one of the problems that this Nigeria electoral system has had recently is the advent of bringing in some of the allegedly professors into the affairs of this election. Ordinarily, we were thinking that when you have professors within the environment, you're going to have a very, very intellectual beings handling things that will not compromise by any standard. But the way we are having it, because they are supposed to be learned, they're supposed to have abreast with all the letters of the Constitution, all the letters of the Electoral Act and all that. But the statement actually credited to the INEC chairman, definitely, interested in having new laws. To me, I wouldn't understand at basis, but for me, I feel that the INEC being a creation of the Constitution by virtue of Section 153 sub F has that particular latitude to organize and regulate itself. So not necessarily looking for a fresh law, except he wants some specifications. But he has all the rights, all the powers to regulate affairs of political parties and regulate issues that pertain in elections in Nigeria.
Okay. Now, Maxwell, INEC is asking for a law to address early campaign. In other words, INEC has established that that is fouling of a rule or fouling of a regulation. Does INEC require a new law? I will soon go through what the Constitution provides. I read it, gentlemen, because so that it can educate us.
Definitely.
Do you think INEC should be asking for a new law or enforcing its own rules and regulations?
Yes, INEC requires a new law with respect to criminalizing or declaring early campaign as electoral offenses, as one of the electoral offenses. Anything short of that, INEC cannot. If you watch the Constitution gave INEC the power to make rules, but the Supreme Court, in the case of P2B and INEC and President Tinubu, Supreme Court said that INEC rules is not a mandatory law. Having said that, now Section 114 down to, I think it down to sorry, so that I don't, Section 114 down to Section 129 of the Electoral Act 2022 as amended listed what are electoral offenses. So express mention of one thing is exclusion of another. Now, having mentioned what are electoral offenses, on what basis will INEC, because early campaign was not listed as one of the electoral offenses?
That is in the Electoral Act.
In the Electoral Act. Now, if you're now asking INEC to make a rule to make early campaign as an offense, which means that rule now has been inconsistent with the Act. And any rule that is inconsistent with the Act, that rule shall not be applied as a valid law. Just like where an Act cannot be inconsistent with the Constitution. Now that is the reason why, the people that are making these laws for us are these characters who have in the National Assembly and call themselves politicians. Because if actually they want this country to progress, there are some things that we should not be talking about amendment of the Electoral Act by now, because the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeal and the Federal High Court in the pre-election and post-election matters has told you the infractions, the emptiness, the lacunas we have in the Electoral Act. They expected them to use, I wrote a memo to them, I raise all those issues, sending it to them. You can eat your whatever allowances because you are not doing anything as far as Master Leper is concerned. They are doing absolutely nothing. This one, they are regime to do what? They are not doing anything. Those of us that have decided to look at the law, burn the candle, did everything, give it to you. Your own is to put your signature there, send it to the president, let it be so that you can make progress. Are they telling me that they are not aware that any campaign is not an offense, electoral offense?